Welcome, Raider Nation, and welcome to the Raider Nation podcast. And I am your host, Raider Greg. Welcome to show number 67, where we'll be talking about, yes, the new head coach of the Oakland Raiders, Art Shell, Hall of Famer, of course, and Pro Bowl excellence, excellent player, and Raider through and through. So we're going to talk a little bit about him. There's been a whole lot going on about him, just him lately. We got some shouts out. I'm going to read some emails to you from the Raider Nation podcast fans, and some news around the NFL, especially some news inside of the Oakland Raiders. There's been some movement and some things that are going on here that I think I'll just comment about real quickly. It's been rumored that Jackie Slater might be our offensive line coach. And Jimmy Ray. Jimmy, I can't see the field from here, Ray, is out of here. He went back to the Jets. Jets. Go, go, go. Bye, bye, bye. Nice talking to ya. I'm glad Jimmy Ray is gone. Thank you so much. Now to replace him, former assistant Tom Walsh. Now, he hasn't been in the league for 7 years. So him and Art Shell's got a lot in common because neither one of them have been in the game for very long. 7 years out of the NFL. Tom Walsh could be our our offensive coordinator. So that's kind of surprising. He was our offensive coordinator from 82 to 95. Let's see. He did play another coaching role until 98 where he was relieved of duty with Joe Bugle. Oh, boy. Fond memories of Joe Bugle, a.k.a. Norv Turner. All right, Raider fans. Let's see now. What do we got here on the Raider Nation podcast comment line? You know what? I got a new comment today, and since I'm talking about Art Shell, I'll just go off with this one. Okay, this moron, The Warpath, he's a Chiefs fan. He has LOL and talks about Art Shell and how he's the senile face of the Raiders, and he says no one's going to coach our team, and he's going on and on and on. He says he's glad he picked up Herm Edwards, and they'll be right on top of the AFC West next year. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to be Denver or San Diego, so they're going to be the biatches again of the AFC. So I think they're going to be our biatches too if we get it together here. So I'm going to delete that that comment, as soon as I'm off the podcast right now. So I had to share that with you because I'm getting that lovely hate mail. All those fans that love to hate us, just like Al Davis said in his press conference, they all love to hate us. The Chargers and the Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs, they all have a week of preparation to breed hatred on the Raider Nation, which is just fine with us because we just really don't care. No, Billy Boy comes in with a very good statement because he was the voice of reason here. He's standing behind Art Shell. He wasn't on his short list either. Now, Neil Billy's a good fan. He's a true fan. He knows a lot about the history of the Raiders. And he does make some points here about how do you think Art Shell's going to be pushed around. I don't think so either. Definitely by the AFC West because he's hated them for some years too. So he understands that situation, and I have no doubt that he wants to do a good job. So Neil Billy Boy's got his back right away, which is not a lot of Raider fans weren't happy about this pick, and I'll go over that too. The assassin comes in with he's shell shocked. He has mixed emotions about Art Shell, as do I, and he goes on to talk about how Al has a lot of control issues, and maybe that's why some of the people didn't take the job, and I'm sure that's the case, and that's just the way Al Davis is, and you know what, if they don't want to take the job, who wants them to have the job? I know Ken Whisenhunt wanted the job. I don't think that the money was right or something like that. I know his agent did stay afterwards for a couple of days to try to make a deal happen with Mr. Davis, and it just didn't pan out. So it wasn't like the fact that he didn't like Ken Whisenhunt. I just think that they were too far away on money. Okay, here's a great little comment by, oh goodness, look at this, Raider Greg's wife. Yes, my wife saw me totally depressed on the hiring of Art Shell because I was really hoping for a young assistant that had a lot of fire and a lot of attitude, and I was really banking on Ken Whisenhunt. And that's what happens when you put your eggs in the basket. They get skabooshed. So she talks about Art Shell, and she says, but he does look good on paper. And that's what I said at the beginning of last season with all our players. It looks good on paper. Looks like we'll have a great offense on paper. Well, we took that paper and we wiped with it, and that's the end of it, and it's been flushed, so we have to go on to the next season. She talks about how he's a great coach, and he was a great coach. From 68 to 82, he was a tackle for the Raiders, and he was 89 Hall of Famer with previous Raiders offensive line. He went to 3 Super Bowls. His overall record, 56-41. It's great, but it was 13 years ago, or 12 years ago. It depends on who you talk to. So she's hoping for a Cinderella season. So am I. Frank comes in with Art Shell, and he doesn't have really an opinion about it either way. He just says that he was hired, and he also talks about Jimmy Ray's leaving. Yeah, get out of here, Ray. I can't see the field from here. Jimmy Ray. So that's kind of what's happening on that end of the spectrum. Now, we can take a look at some other things that are going on. Now, before I get into the Shell interview also, I just want to go over what the Raider fans are saying. And I picked a couple sites and I looked around to see, there's one that I like kind of going to because there's a lot of people. It's in the San Jose Mercury News. It's a great site because there's a lot of good Raider fans there. A lot of intelligent, people speaking out. And so I just want to read you some of the discussion topics of the latest forum for the San Jose Mercury News. And I just want you guys to know this is the emotion of the Raiders. This is what happens when the Raider fans get together on a big deal like this. There's always a controversy. So we have to deal with the controversy. And dealing with the controversy is shouting out and speaking out. And this is what people are doing. Okay, so here is the general list of topics for a forum. And I just want to read this to you, and you'll get the grip of what the Raider Nation is thinking about this Art Shell thing. Art Shell doesn't have the drive to win in 06. Broncos, Chiefs, and Charger fans. It's Raider calling them out because they're always coming on this site too, which is kind of a joke. Worst fans in the NFL. Report on Wiz interview. Yes, Shell loves his team. Yes. Okay, Art Shell is it. Let's see. Shell, respect. Give Shell the respect he deserves. There's another one. And only one Wiz for the Raiders. That was pretty funny. Art Shell is fired. Someone's kind of upset about that. Oh, gosh. Yes or no on Collins, everyone. I'm going to go back to that one because I just think that's funny. Okay, and then, of course, here's someone here with a bad joke here. Plucking, please, die, Al. That was not very good. That guy got murdered by all the commenters because we don't deal with that here. Art Shell returns. Let's see. Stick to your guns. Here's another one. Al is the demise of the Raiders. These are Raider fans. The worst franchise in the NFL. Oh, gosh. Some guys are really pissed. Please sign John Abraham. Offensive coordinator. There's please, no Art Shell. So, there's a lot of different fan opinions on what's happening here. And it's funny here because remember I told you guys that there was not one Kerry Collins jersey in the entire Coliseum. And that was something that I thought was truly hilarious considering that he looks like he's going to be with us next year. So this was a discussion and the topic was yes or no on Collins. And so there was a lot of people that got in on this one here. Here's a definite no, big time no, hell no. So no, of course, hell no, no Collins, anybody but Collins, hell no Collins, the Mark Mixer, the reincarnation of Mark Wilson. I think he's the reincarnation of Jeff George. Of course, maybe Culpepper, but not Collins. I'll pass on Collins. No, I want Andrew Walter. He considered Plunkett before Collins today. This other guy says that he wouldn't mind having Collins. Now, here's the one guy out of so far 25 postings that says it's okay to keep Collins, okay? If we can upgrade our offensive line by 30%. You know what? Collins would have to have an absolute brick solid line that would keep him from getting spooked for at least 30 seconds before he can make up his mind and throw a ball and hopefully hit somebody. We'll see. And not the other team. I can't stand Collins. Of course, I put in a big fat no. And and there's another one. It's like, oh, hell no. So I just wanted to let the Raider fans know, if you haven't known already, what's happening in the nation right now. There's a whole lot of emotion with the Art Shell deal. A lot of people are pissed. It took Al so long to make this decision, and it was a second decision, really a second guy. Shell's a yes guy. He was before. He had a lot of assistants ahead of him, that worked with him, that made him look a lot better than he was, I believe, because it was just crazy clock management, crazy decisions on the field by him when he was coaching. I know their record and everything, but it's crazy being in the stands. All you guys who were there, you understand what I'm talking about. He had some crazy decisions. So, I don't know. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and go off with what I have here. Because this is an article here I've written here on the hiring of Art Shell. Okay. Only one man was offered the job of head coach of the Oakland Raiders per Al Davis, and that was Bernard Paterno. Bernard Paterno, get that. That's rich. And he turned it down because, of course, he's in the middle of trying to find players to bring to his college. And if that's, that's a statement that, it sounds really good and everything else, what he's just saying is he don't want the job. Because if he wanted the job, he'd just leave the school and come to work. That would be the end of that. And everybody else understands that too. Now, Shell came up in his press conference big time, and I was listening to Al and his comments. He tried to soft sell it a lot about how he went through his coaching, and he tried to really make Art Shell look good. He did a good job. The old man still got a lot of slick in him, I'll tell you that. Shell had a good speech. He talked about standards and the meaning of the Raiders' mystique, and how the meaning of commitment to excellence is something that he wants to hold high, and the high standards of the organization, and we've all heard this before. Shell's record of 54-38 has been the cry of a lot of fans that agree with the choice, and also with his Pro Bowl appearances and his Hall of Fame. He is a Hall of Fame inductee, which all says an awful lot for him. But he's been out of the NFL for 12 years, and he's been in the NFL union, doing union business, I think union president at this point before he left. So I know he's in with the players, and I understand he's in with football, but I have a hard time having anybody come back to a job of such intensity after 13 years of hiatus and do well. But hey, there's always a miracle, and he could have had his fingers in it the whole time. Shell was fired in 94 after a 9-7 record, which I would die for right now. I'd love to see a 9-7 record. If he was a coach right now, next year we got a 9-7 record, I'd be happiest guy that ever happened. But after 1994, the team had 5 losing seasons. So that says a lot about Shell. That says a lot about the communication Shell had with Al Davis, and a lot of things, how he made those decisions that Davis made work for the team. Maybe that's the way the team needs to work. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but it seemed to work during that time with those players. And I think that as an opportunity, you have to look at that because, hey, he's going to be our coach. Now, the other thing, too, some speak of his commanding presence on the sideline and his Raiderness on the sideline, but all I can remember is his arm folded and he was kind of slouched backwards looking at the team, and I didn't see a whole lot of emotion from this guy. The rumor was it was between Fossil, no thanks, or Shell, post Ken Whisenhunt interview. But, so let's look at what the Raider fans are saying, and I did look at what Raider fans are saying, and I shared a lot of that with what the Raider fans are saying. Now, I, for one, was very disappointed with the hiring, and I'll tell you, I had a lot of reasons why, and I'm not going to go into all of them right now, but I'll go into some of them. And I'll go into the number one reason, and I'll tell you why. And it's not about anything else, but it's kind of a pride thing. I don't know what you'd call it. It's trippy on my part, I guess. But we have to give Shell the opportunity to show what he has. We have to stand behind our coach because he's our coach, man. And I understand that, so I'm just dropping it all, and I'm going to put 100% behind Shell. Let's just see how he does. Let's see how he grades out, and we'll be able to see exactly what's happening pretty doggone soon. Because first, let's look at what he's going to do for trade or free agency. Who's he going to bring into the organization? What is he going to look at when he's talking about replacing players that need to be replaced? Let's see if he picks up a quarterback to replace Collins, Culpepper, Kitna, someone. Culpepper's ready to jump right now. He's ready to make a deal with anybody, and looks like we can get a deal out of it. Now, I don't think he's going to make that decision. He could, but if he doesn't make that decision, we're stuck with Carey. Please don't throw the ball, Collins. So now we know the direction of the QB if he goes that way. That's going to say a lot about his coaching, a lot about what he thinks about the team, and how the direction that we're going to go in, the new direction I was talking about. How about this defensive tackle? Would he get a defensive tackle or a linebacker? I hear Lewis wants out of Baltimore. That'd be a perfect fit, man. He'd look great in silver and black. Can you believe that? Jamal Lewis in silver and black? I'd love it. What about A.J. Hawk? That'd be a great pick. Or another QB, defensive tackle. We definitely need offensive linemen. You've seen the picks. You see who's available. Let's look, man. There's a lot of people available from that Seattle Seahawks front line. Maybe you can pick up one of those guys. However it goes, we're going to be able to see what happens in the before the preseason starts and who he picks and how the team's going to come together. We do have a lot of key players already, and if he makes the right decisions, and he makes the right decisions about the cap, because Collins is definitely going to have to redo his contract. I don't see how he won't. If he doesn't, and Al pays him, I'll freak out, along with everybody else on every forum website in the Raider Nation, because that would just flip me out. So I say, let's see how he does. Let's see how he does in preseason. Let's see who he plays during the games. Now remember, he was the coach on the Marcus Allen deal, and if you're not familiar with the Marcus Allen deal, let's take a look at that. He sat Marcus on the bench because Al Davis had some kind of personal issue with him. Shell didn't stand up for his teammate. He didn't stand up for his player, Marcus Allen, and, that's probably the best reason that I really didn't like the Shell hiring, because I thought that was chicken shit. I thought that was a bad deal on his part, and I could never understand how he wouldn't stand up to Davis and play him, because we needed him to play. He was a good player. Then he was traded, and he beat the living daylights out of us when he played for Kansas City. So that was, I'm not going to hold back. I was disappointed with the hire. I'm sure you get that tone in my voice, but I understand that we have to do it. We have to be behind him, and I'm getting used to it now. It takes a couple days for me. Sean of the Raider Take and Calico Jack and all those guys, and Nilbilly Boy, man, you guys are much more dialed than me. I'm more of the Neanderthal type Raider fan. I have the immediate reaction, gut-wrenching, then I have to get over it, think about it for a couple days, then I come out with a rational thought. And if you guys don't know that by now, I don't know. I've told you before, I've got to settle down before I make these podcasts. Art is a Raider. He's a Raider through and through. He is silver and black to the bone. He watched every single game while I was not playing. I'm sure of it. He's rooted them on in his soul and spirit, and I'm sure that he's going to do his best, his very best effort to make it right and get it done. In the boundaries of Al Davis, of course, but we all understand how that works. Everybody that's in the Raiders Nation understands that's how it has to be. And that's okay, because it's okay with Art. So if these two guys can get together like they did way back when and get that communication working, I'm sure things will be great. And you have to give him his respect. He did win. He did do very well in the league. And he could be the great coach that we're looking for. You just never know. Whether you like it or not, he is our coach, and we need to stand behind him as best as we can. And I'll tell you what, if he doesn't win, the Raider Nation is going to let him know, just like they let Turner know, and that's just going to be it. Al's not that senile. He understands what's happening. We get another 4-12 record next year. It's going to be not good for our head coach. But you know what? Let's not talk about that. I think that he'll do a great job. I hope. I have a lot of hope in the Raiders organization. I have a lot of hope that Al will do the right thing. And, that's what I've been hoping all along. He's surely doing exactly what I think he would do, everything that I didn't think he would do. So if that doesn't make any sense, think about it for a second. Thank you for listening to the Raider Nation podcast. I want to thank all of you for frappering on my Frapper map. It's very, very cool. If you think about it, if you have time, get on it. Put your area code in there and stick your pin and whatever you want to say on there. Get it on there. And we want to see the Raider Nation on there. We want to see all them faces and everything else. It's very cool. It's inspiring for the Raider Nation podcast. Tough time for everybody. Football is over. We're looking at the Olympics. It's just not the same. Starting to Jones already. You have to just get beyond it. There's a lot going on, though, in the NFL. We have things to do, places to go, and players to get this season off, 06, and try to get at least a 500. Shit, I'd love to get 10 wins this year. And if we get the right players, the right attitude, and get things rolling like we did during the Bills game, we'll have some games one year. Okay, well, everybody be careful. Have fun. Make your comments there at theRaiderNationPodcast.com and check it out. Don't forget to vote Podcast Alley, and I want to thank all of you for listening. I'm Raider Greg, and I am